Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Jesse's Occupational Awareness Show. I'm your host, as always, Jesse. Today's topic, we're going to call it Reflecting Back on the Good Memories of TDCJ. Now, I've had a lot of negative comments lately, and they make it pretty difficult to continue on with this channel. And then I get some positive ones who tell me, carry on, it's helpful, it's informative. It's for you individuals that I do this for. So there's been a lot of negative videos on this channel. It's prison. It's just the nature of it. With the war stories of it come the negativity. You know, very rarely does a CO go riding off into the sunset with the good guys winning. It just doesn't seem to happen like that a lot. And I look back at a lot of videos that I did and I realized, man, I bash TDC all the time with this. So I thought, what were the good sides of TDC? Were there any? Yeah, there were. There were a lot of good memories of TDC. I want to try to do a series where I talk about the good times that I had with TDC, bring those to light, and hopefully open up some eyes to some of the viewers. Maybe some who don't like watching the videos that I do anymore. So with this, let's talk about some of the good times that I had with TDC. And I sat back and I thought, there's no greater place to talk about than in the academy. All right. Your first 6 weeks hired on with TDC, I get a lot of comments on it. Do you get paid in the academy? Yes. Yes, you do get paid in the academy. The day that you hire on, the first day that you set foot in the academy, you are an employee of the state, you're an employee of TDCJ, and you start getting paid, okay? So we'll just get that out right there. So the academy was a very paramilitary organization. All the instructors were sergeants. We had the occasional lieutenant. The captain was the overseer of the training. And then there was a major who was, I guess you could say, the warden over the academy. But for the most part, our interactions were all with sergeants. And it was very much like military boot camp, okay? The instructors were rough, they were harsh, no bullshit. If somebody messed up in some way, they would get called out on it. Sometimes they would get fired. They did everything they could to keep from firing individuals because the state desperately needs people. Probably more so now than it ever has. At the time, I'm not really sure. I don't have statistics, but they would work with the individuals. And then again, you just have some jackasses who they just weren't going to make it. And it showed, and they're not with the state. So the good times with it. Well, the very first thing, the benefits started immediately. The pay started immediately. And that could really shed a good shed of light to somebody who needed a job, who needed a paycheck. And I was one of those individuals. I'd gotten off active duty in 2012. I went back to being a reservist. Drill pay for a weekend was probably about $357 a month. You can't make a living on that. So it was real good peace of mind to know that I had a steady career, a paycheck that was going to come in every month. I didn't need the majority of the benefits because I had TRICARE through the reserves. So I was able to just really pay into the pension plan. I had a couple of allotments taken out for commissary insurance where if you get injured, you continue to get paid. I had those. But it was really good and really nice knowing that I would have a decent, steady paycheck coming in and I'd get time to go on for the drills. All right. I was also fortunate enough when I hired on, I started the academy in April. I graduated it in June. May is the month of the Fallen Officers Memorial. There's a huge ceremony that goes on all throughout Texas. All the law enforcement agencies, corrections, they get together and they honor the fallen law enforcement officers that have taken place. And it's a huge ceremony. And my academy class was fortunate enough to go to the auditorium across from the Texas Prison Museum. We all formed up, got in formation, we're standing in a position of attention, and the Texas Honor Guard was there. And let me tell you folks, the Honor Guard is some of the sharpest individuals you're ever going to see at TDC. I'd go on to say the sharpest. They're in full dress uniform, wearing the campaign covers, the dress coat, the aguilar down on the side, that's that braided cord that you see on cavalry officers, military movies and all. They do the 21 gun salute. It's blanks. They ring the bell. It really was a moving ceremony. And I, for one, was absolutely astonished and just so proud to be able to take part of that. And I thought it was going to reflect on my career. Well, unfortunately, it didn't. But nonetheless, it was still an absolute moving ceremony. And if anybody gets the chance to ever look up any archival footage on any of the fallen officer ceremony, I highly recommend it. Another really good memory that I have of it, defensive tactics. Sometimes it would be in the morning, sometimes it'd be in the afternoon at the academy. But we'd all go back behind the log cabin. There was a basketball court back there. We'd form up on the asphalt blacktop. And we just do our defensive tactics, straight punches, jabs, kicks, hooks. We do calisthenics. Every time it started, we would have to do the TDCJ mission statement. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm not even going to try to recite it because I know I'm going to jack it up here on the camera. But it was 4 sentences, 1 paragraph, and we were required to memorize and recite that. And it really ingrained in the head what TDC was all about, and what we were there to do, and what we were supposed to take to the units with us. And I remember after a while of saying it, it would actually give me goosebumps. I really enjoyed forming up and getting out there and calling that out. You know, we're part of a really proud organization and ready to get into it. So that was a really good memory. Another really good one, the unit tours that we took. Man, first time inside of a prison. Okay, we've all seen the prison movies. If you haven't, I highly recommend you look into them. We've all seen the prison shows. Okay, and now here we are, first setting foot inside of a prison. Man, ready to tear this place apart, get these guys on the straight and narrow, and just do what corrections officers are there to do. I thought I knew what it was at the time, but in the academy, no, you really don't know until you get to your prospective unit and get on shift and get going with what you're going. But until that reality had set in, man, I was ready. All right. I loved rocking the uniform. Okay. Before we got to the unit and the inmates would do the laundry, we had to starch, iron, and crease it ourselves. And that was typically one of the first things that I would do when I'd get back to the barracks, starch and iron that uniform. Get that can of faultless starch out, heat up the uniform on the ironing board, spray the fuck out of it with the starch, and get those creases going. Man, I had the creases down the sleeves, down the trousers so sharp you could just about cut your finger with them. I was really proud to wear that uniform. I didn't walk around town wearing it like some individuals like to do to try to show off, but I was really proud of the way it looked, and I felt really good to be a part of the organization. You know, it was a real good feeling. Felt like there was about to be some good changes coming on in my life, and there were, for the most part. Graduation. Okay. Graduation was an awesome experience. I remember it to this day. It was in an auditorium that was right across from the Texas Prison Museum. We had to set up the room, which mainly consisted of just setting out chairs. Anybody that had guests coming, they had to have a guest list, so we had a good head count of who there was going to be. And the ceremony itself was extremely professional. And it looked like, I don't know, like graduating college or something that I've seen when I've gone to some of my buddies who have graduated. You got all the directors at TDC. The region that I was in was the Eastern region. You got East, South, West, North, Central. I think there's 5 regions. Maybe it's changed up a little bit. But the Eastern TDC director would be there. The Academy Warden, which of course was a major. All our instructors were there. They call your name out. You march up on the stage, shake hands with the director. They would announce your name. They'd announce which unit you were getting assigned to, ask you a couple of questions. Do you know anything about the unit that you're going to? And then you go down the line and you shake hands with the other individuals that were there. And I remember Sergeant Charles Battles. Okay, my instructors that I remember were Sergeant Norman, Sergeant Rodney, I think Fisher. Sergeant Fisher. I just remembered his name. Yep. And then Sergeant Battles, Charles Battles. I hear he's a lieutenant now. Congratulations on the man. I remember getting to the end to it, shaking hands with him, and as he shook my hand, he kind of pulled me in and said, "Hey, Styles, hey, watch your back, Carter. Gladiator School." Patted me on the shoulder, and I walked by. Okay, I had heard what a gladiator school was. That's where you go to basically make a name for yourself. I didn't know exactly really what it meant, more to the extent that I do now, but I was really overtaken by that emotion that he had, and that he would take the time in front of everybody to actually say that, and I really appreciated that. I found out very early on after I got to the Styles what he meant by that, but man, shout out to you. That was good times. Other good memories. First time eating prison food. The first time I ever had a meal from TDC was over at the Walls unit, aka the Huntsville unit, the first oldest prison unit that there was in Texas. Also the House of Death Row. Okay, a real good time, a good experience is when you actually get to witness an execution. I'm not going to go into it. If anybody has questions, we can get into it off the channel, but yeah, execution is it's an interesting and moving experience. Everyone's going to react differently to it. The first time I had that prison meal, I really felt like I was part of the culture now. All right, we're eating this prison food. Man, the first one, it was a pork patty. It was made out of some kind of ham, pork, sweat meat, shaped into a cube and just baked. Oh, it looked like a meat hockey puck. All right, but it was good. Don't get me wrong. You get as many of them as you wanted. Beans, man, if you don't like beans when you're at TDC, you're probably not going to like them by the time you get out of it. I learned to love them. Beans were with every meal, vegetables, carrots and all. I ate really good there. I really did. So that's some of the good times. That's some of the good memories that I have on that. And I really wish those times could have continued. Unfortunately, the time in the academy was only 5 weeks, 6 at best. Oh, that's right. On your 4th week, paycheck. I think it was around $2,100 at the time. But when you see that paycheck just magically show up, that was good. That's when you know you got you a set job and it's all ready to go. Direct deposit, guaranteed deposit, every month, there it was. So that was a good peace of mind. Weren't going to make any overtime, but you couldn't make any undertime as well. So, anyway, folks, I hope that y'all have enjoyed this. This was the best I could do to come up with some really good recollections that I had, and there's no better place to start than the academy. So, everyone take care, stay safe. I appreciate every single one of you. See y'all in the next video.